Hey, so they had the man that just passed away. Well, he didn't pass away, but yeah, he passed away, but he was murdered. Um, I forgot his name just that quick. Um, my phone acting slow. Um, he just a black man that just got shot by the police. What's his name? Um, it's trending now. Hold up. All right. So his name's George. Um, George Floyd. Um, so, um, it's, yeah, that's his name. George Floyd just got yesterday, last night got shot and killed by the police. They said that he was already drunk. That's just what they say. That he was drunk and he did the same thing similar to Eric Garner. I can't breathe. So they said the police officers, it was one Asian guy and one white guy who one of them had put his knee on the guy's neck, and they had bystanders defending the man. It's really crazy about how these bully fag cops, they're the real criminals. These bully fag cops, how they you know for their crime, because they're sellout Freemason puppets. Um, they usually get a slap on the wrist, and then when it comes to like especially blacks and stuff getting murdered, when it comes to so-called justice, especially by the cops, um, you know, is like they never like black people really never get justice when it comes to being they never get that proper justice or closure. The families never get proper justice or closure. I mean, when Janet took me down to Florida, I mean, I'm sorry, down to Miami, um, she said that her mom's cousin was shot and killed by the police. I'm surprised that wasn't blown up. This will happen Easter, April 12th. And, that's when 6 days later, that Friday, they had that street theater like incident or whatever. So, you know, I've seen, well, I've experienced and, you know, I mean, I've seen and experienced, eyewitness, I witnessed and personally experienced police brutality. Like, and from what I witnessed of the brutality, it was always a black person that was a victim. Even from what I have eyewitnessed, you know. So some people say that the Black Lives Matter movement is a cult. Um, you know, and then some people counteract it with all lives matter or blue lives matter or they say human lives matter, you know. or they'll say human and animal lives matter, you know. So it's like I remember eyewitnessing. I was on a bus in fake Denton, Texas, racist Denton, Texas, where they hate niggers. You know, I saw a black man was running from the police from I don't know what reason, but he was running from the police. He was running from the police, and the police was like, the officer was like, "I'm gonna tase you! I'm gonna tase you!" And then he like shot the guy in the chest with a taser, and I don't know if the guy survived or not, but the guy fell to the ground, you know. I think he screamed too. I don't remember, but also, um, well, of course, it's like when you see that TV show Cops back in the 90s, police brutality was glamorized and was seen for entertainment. But when it happens to you, it ain't entertaining, it ain't funny. Predictive programming, you know. So, um, you know, I've eyewitnessed, on TV, events that happen on Cops that people thought it was hilarious or funny or just want to tune in because it was entertaining, Excuse me. So then, um, now, all right. Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. I don't remember if it was on Cops or it was in real life. It might have been on Cops that the police officer abused and rough handled this female, and then did her head and did like this, like twisted her head into the ground, in the concrete, and made her face all bloody. Um, I remember this. I had just graduated from high school. I think I had already graduated from high school, and a few months later, I saw this girl that I went to school with. She was, I don't know what happened, but it's like and black people want to talk about Black Lives Matter. Okay, well, when a black person is in trouble with the law, black people judge and condemn and think that the person being detained is all automatically guilty or he must have done something, or you want to try to read into what they did. You do it to your own kind. All the civil rights movements back then and protesting or whatever, and it's like we black people still oppress each other, feeling like that person deserved to be shot and killed by the police or whatever. So who are you to determine or judge that that person deserved to have that to happen to them? And first of all, you weren't there. All you see is a person in handcuffs with a bloody face, and you think you just can just know by guessing, you know, what that person could have been guilty of, and that person deserved to be brutalized. They're talking about, oh, they might be like, oh yeah, that's what he get for talking smart. That's what he get for running his mouth. How you know that? You weren't there, you know. So, um, it's like, and black people do it to other black people worse than whites and other races do it to us, and it's a doggone fact that And they're the number one people who saying black people need to band together and stick together, you know. And so it's like, yeah, that girl Ebony I went to school with. I think I remember. I don't remember exactly what happened, but they rough handed and pinned her to the ground, and she was screaming, "No, no, no!" while they were handcuffing her. And so then the next day, I saw her back at school. I just went to visit the school. Um, so then I don't remember any other instances when I was a child between childhood and adulthood. But okay, um, in Los Angeles, we were like in Inglewood, and I don't remember exactly what happened. All we know is we were riding by on the bus and saw that somebody was brutalized and beaten, a black person, and then some people spoke out and said that it was wrong and brutal what the police did to the person. The person, I don't think the guy died, but he was very much a victim of police brutality and brutalized and beaten. And so then, um, in New Orleans, like towards the end of 2018, it was like December 6th, 2018. I remember that date. And we were in New Orleans on Canal Street. I was walking, and I just heard these ignorant Project Ghetto black people like gossiping this and discussing like it was supposed to be a form of entertainment. And so I think it was the state trooper. Um, I don't know what they did to him or how they did it. All I know is the ladies were gossiping and discussing and talking about, yeah, and look how they done bust all his head up. They said they bust all his head up, meaning like, you know, they beat him in the head with something, and had him all just bloody, all his head, everything was bloody, and he needed medical attention, you know. And so then it's like my own brother Sean, you know, and it seemed like the black people experienced the worst brutality when other niggas call the police on you. Other black people call the police on you for something. You get it the worst. The worst brutality by cops. When a nigga, another nigga, another black person wanna call the police on you. You know. So my brother Sean, for the first time in his life, he was at least 40 years old, probably 41 years old. And I mean, I'm glad that he said that they rough handled him with the quickness and arrested him, like didn't allow him to speak or defend himself or anything. And he was homeless on the streets at that time too. And I didn't know it at the time until shortly after. And he called me, like, he was lying and saying that he was in Harvey or Marrero, but kind of find out he was in Gretna by the Waffle House. And so I still to this day don't know which one of those black females had called the police on him. You know, like, um so the white police officers didn't give him a chance to, and then he said the cops were already there and they just snatched him up with the quickness and rough handle and put him in handcuffs and put him in jail. And he was supposed to have gone to court, but I think they threw the case out. But then he said they forced injected him with a vaccine that made him feel like so sick. This was like at the beginning of 2000, like February 2019. I don't remember what date it was, but I think it was mid-February in 2019. And so Um, and that's another story. What happened later on when I try to be a good sister and take him in, and then he started to be abusive and manipulative and lying towards me and just being rude and everything. So he got mad involuntarily and left and pretended like he was gonna attempt suicide. I called the other brother. That was before I found out they were narcissistic abusers. Not like if me find out for sure that they trying to, and I didn't realize they were trying to push and manipulate me. It's like fake Krusty Pete. He tried to be like, yeah, call the police, and then that retard Ramona was kept ignoring my calls because she just wanted to defend Sean against me. But fake Krusty Pete kept trying to aggressively insist that I call the police on Sean, and then tried to say, "Oh yeah, call the police on Sean and tell him he's suicidal." Like, damn, how you even know? I didn't even tell him that Sean was suicidal. But then later on, after Pete told me to do that, that's when Sean started to threaten suicide. And the police didn't do anything, you know. But I felt bad that he manipulated me into doing something like that, and I was sleep deprived myself, and didn't realize until after what Pete was trying to get me to do. You know, Pete is a criminal and been in prison himself, and it's like, you know, Pete was trying to get me to lie on Sean, but eventually he tried to, threaten suicide anyway. But then Sean voluntarily went to the hospital somewhere and lied on me and said that I kicked him out when Sean voluntarily left, because he falsely accused me of trying to be like the foster mom, because me and him had an altercation because he lied about, taking a bath. And he sat in the exact, I mean, I tried to warn him, I tried to tell him, but he didn't know, but he already been sat down so fast. When I tried to warn him, I tried to say, don't sit there, because it was on that exact same bus in that exact same seat. A demonic, dirty, homeless, super bloody, just dirty, bloody man freaking sat in that seat. And I was trying to warn Sean against sitting there. He sat there anyway. And then Sean, you know, I had to clean and sanitize the whole house, talking about some coronavirus, COVID-19. Yeah, kind of cleaning, and sanitation. But me and him got into it because he lied and said that he took a bath and he didn't. And he just pretended like he took a bath. And so that was what the altercation was about. And then he got mad and falsely accused me of being like the foster mom and everybody. And so that's why we got into that argument. But what I did was, when Sean was crying, when I found him in Gretna, and I gave him a big hug and was there for him and sympathized with him, the ladies at the white ladies at that restaurant gave him a free burgers and fries, and he said he was, too like shooken up or whatever to eat, because usually he eat a lot, but he was so mad and crying he couldn't eat. And I was hugging him, and that was before the incident happened, before I took him to my house, before we rode the bus. I paid for his bus fare and everything, and just wanted to, make sure my brother was well taken care of. Now, he's supposed to be the male version of me, you know, but, it seems like he would resist and fight, me trying to reach out to him and be a good sister to him, because the family has his head brainwashed that, I'm a bad person. And then, the last altercation that I got into with that retard Ramona in 2018, when she called herself trying to copy off of my retarded drunk Aunt Yvonne, with trying to show me the door, me and her got into an argument because me and him got into an argument that day, and I was sleep deprived and stressed out and just going through too much. And I lost my temper and had a Tourette's outburst, and I kicked him. And then Sean tried to be like, "Sure, kick me." And then Ramona's like, "Why you kick that boy?" Well, like, what you mean? All the abuse you done to me and all the abuse you do to people. Don't freaking talk about me kicking nobody. You know. So, you know, I was upset because she was defending and taking sides with him while she was gonna leave me cold on the streets. And I had just got back in town from California the day before. You know, but it's like she defends Sean because it's easier to get money out of him. You know, so she falsely accused me of trying to buy friendship from my own brother and trying to buy his love and try to pay for him to love me. And she falsely accused me of trying to use that to manipulate him, which was not even true. I don't even manipulate anybody, you know. But Sean just called himself being mad. You know, she just put all this toxic stuff in everybody's head because she wants to keep me freaking isolated. I don't manipulate no damn body, you know. But Sean had, went and, a couple of months after that incident, he didn't last much longer because them two had a heated fight or argument or whatever because um she was trying to use him out his money. Talking about manipulative, huh? She would use him out his money and he stood up to her and she got mad and threw him out and kept him threw him out cold on the streets. You know, that's why she was treating him better than me because she thought she was gonna have another chance at getting his money again. You know, so that's the motivation for why she treated him better than me and defended him against me. You know, I know I kind of got off topic, but I'm talking about my brother Sean here. You know, so anyway, back to that day. You know, when Sean went to jail and stuff, and then I you know, gave him the bedroom and the comfortable mattress and, gave him the bedroom by himself while I went in the living room and took that sacrifice to sleep on the floor while giving him the comfortable bed to rest in. But, like, how the hell are you going to ask me to take you in and then, me trying to comfort you and you're in my house and I offer you help and you treat me like I'm just, pestering you or getting on your nerves. So that also, part of how we got into an argument, that what I did, wasn't good enough, you know. But it seems like the biological mom, Frances, when she was alive, and the biological sister Ramona tried to copy off of Frances and want to leave where Frances leave. Like, it's like the family don't want me and Sean getting along, yet they say they compare us to and make it like he's the male version of me. But the family like to create division on purpose because they don't want us to get along. And so now, what the argument was about when um I confronted Sean about why he begged me to let him walk to the store with me and then begged me for money for breakfast, and he took that food and said, "Hold on, I'm gonna go, somewhere else right quick." And then he just did snuck behind my back and threw the food in the garbage, straight in the garbage, and then it came right back. And then me and him got into it because I'm like, why the hell would you just take it, ask me for money for food, and ask me for food, and then just take it, throw it away? I knew he threw it away. He tried to lie about it. So then that's when me and him got into it really heavy. You know, we had quite a few altercations. So anyway, sorry I rambled too much about my brother Sean, but I'm just like giving, just a diary of what happened those days. So anyway, let's talk about my police brutality incident. So, um, in 2010, it was Friday, October 15th, 2010, was when I took an overdose on those pills and nearly succeeded at, trying to commit suicide. And I didn't know I was targeted back then. And um, if anybody knows me personally, you know me better than to be the type to be manipulative. So my sister Ramona was freaking lying, and she's a narcissistic abuser who was, projecting her flaws onto me. Um, she's the one who tried to slick talk and manipulate people. But she tried to block me from helping Sean so she can have Sean all for herself so she can take his money. And my twin sister would try to do Sean the same way, you know. So they try to say that Sean is the retarded guy of the family and I'm the retarded female of the family. So, and I feel my heart, I mean, I just feel so so bad for black families. Because when a black person is suicidal, especially ghetto black people, they're not there and not supportive, and they don't try to comfort that person. But then if that person go and carry out the act of taking their life, that's when you all sorry and regretful. But you then it's like they live with that for the rest of their lives, that they didn't understand, or it's like nobody empathized or understood, my suffering, what I was going through, you know, and my twin sister was the first person I called, and we were on bad terms at that time too. It's like everybody was against me. It was all at that time. It was all centered on the whole family, like taking my money, and I felt like, well, that's all I'm good for. That's all I'm good for is to be used. So, I took an overdose of Klonopin and Benadryls, and that day, I don't even remember how many I took, but I nearly succeeded at trying to, attempt suicide. And my twin sister was the first person I called. You know, I was in Denton, Texas. The police, the police showed. Now, if I would have called the police on people abusing me, the police take hours to come. Or if I have a medical incident, where I'm not at fault, the police would take forever to come. But because they were there to criminalize me and lock me up in a mental institution, that's why they showed up in less than 2 minutes. Like for real, less than 2 minutes. And I was amazed at how fast. I probably if they wouldn't have arrived soon enough, I probably wouldn't be here talking. I probably would be dead. And the people who think I'm annoying would probably be glad that I did the world a favor, you know. But I'm glad that I didn't succeed at the suicide attempt, you know. And I had a lot of other stuff going on too that led to me to try to take my life. But that would be another video to talk about, you know. So my experience with police brutality. See, when my twin sister called me and she bragged about how she even admitted to me that she just wanted to copy off of T.I., the rapper T.I., supposedly talk somebody out of suicide or save somebody's life who was trying to commit suicide or something. And she admitted that she just wanted to try to be like him, and then try to say that if she didn't do anything, that it would be on her conscience. I'm like, this is what you say to your own twin sister? You know, um, and the gay brother Mark pretended to be fake nice, and he was snooping through all my belongings, you know, and it's like him and the fake foster mom, and they always and the foster sister Shelly always aggressively demand the answer. They always aggressively demand that I trust them. Mark is not to be trusted at all, but then demands that I allow myself to trust him. And he's not to be trusted. And he's very sneaky. the gay brother Mark. He doesn't even deserve to be called a brother. Let's call him a fag sister. So let's see. Um, so the police, it's like my conscience, no consciousness was going in and out, and the police, the same. It seemed like whatever I had to deal with, it seemed like I didn't realize it was part of my. It's been going on since foster care. That the exact same. If you have an issue, whether I'm at fault or when I'm the victim or accused of something, always the same officers that come out every time. It's always the same officers that come out. Excuse me. So the same officers who tried to oppress me and bully and abuse me in 2009, well, the way they talked to me, trying to handle me. No, was that in 2009? I think it was 2009. And that let's see, I don't remember the officers' names, but you know, one of the same few police officers that will always come out will be a female police officer named Officer Luce, Luce, and Fake Denton, you know. And so it's like, um, but for some, she wasn't there that time. But one of the other police officers, he was a man. I didn't remember his name, but the other police officer, that's one of the officers, the same gang stalking police officers that always come out. It's like he was literally pointing and laughing at me while, even though my consciousness was going in and out, and the police, other police, I don't know, remember how many police officers there was, but it was quite a bit, like at least 10 of them. And some police officers I saw, and I knew that they were, I saw them snooping through my belongings and then laughing while they were snooping through my belongings, you know. So a lot of people make it like, well, who's going to feel sorry for you? You try to kill yourself, you know. But how do you not know that if I was programmed to attempt suicide and didn't realize it, you know? I thought it was just me going through depression and, just trying to kill myself, But because, not wanting to live anymore because tired of being hurt. But I didn't realize that some people will say that, through mind control, being programmed to commit suicide. Or, some people, the so-called Christians or whatever, the fake deliverance people, will talk about such thing as the spirit of suicide, you know. So, um, I attempted to, I took all those pills, and I was prescribed on Cymbalta at the time. And one of those vigilant citizen websites said that one of the commenters on one of those articles on vigilant citizen said, I think it was about dumbing down a society or whatever. And one of the commenters said that Cymbalta makes you want to kill yourself. And they even said, because I attempted suicide when I was on Wellbutrin in 2007 also, that, Wellbutrin, I was very suicidal on Wellbutrin, you know. So they said I've seen those fake Scientology, CCHR documentaries that said that a person could have like persistent headache problems or problems for a physical ailment, and then you wonder how they prescribed on that medicine, they just hang themselves or take their life some kind of way. But I'm glad that God didn't let me die, because I would have, people say I must have a purpose here, all those times I tried to take myself out in the past, and so um, it's like when the other police officers were looking around and they were snooping through my stuff and laughing. And here's where the police brutality comes in. One police officer, he must have been one of the good cops. He was a white guy too. And it's like I think I remember I was standing up. Because I think I was standing up. But actually I was standing up, but more like I guess they were may have been trying to lift me up. I don't remember exactly everything, but um, one police officer, like when I started to close my eyes, like when I started to the police officer just gently squeezed my hand like this, and the other police officer, this is where the police brutality come in. But you know what? It's a form of brutality to point and laugh at somebody that's dying, or it's a form of brutality to snoop through your stuff and then laugh, while you in a crisis like that. You don't freaking do shit like that. It's not funny at all. And so, you know, and the gay brother Mark waited till after I was already, admitted on the second floor before they put me in the psych ward. After they detoxed me. And the first thing that fag did was pretend to be fake nice, and he slick talk and scammed me out of $30. Then I had another $30 in quarters that they stole from me at the mental hospital. So anyway, so um, so the other police officer, the brutal one, he kept, imagine a man kept twisting his like angrily, twisting each time I started to go out, like as if I started to die. You know, like because it's like the state of being seen, like that was the best, most relaxed, and best feeling I've ever had in my life. But I wouldn't want to go back and do that again, try to take my life anymore. But I don't even know if I was starting to die. You know, and so the police officer, each time my eyes started to close, the calm police officer was just doing this, like gently, press my hand. But this other guy, he kept, and nobody else said you're wrong for that. Don't do that to that woman or anything like that. But the other police officer, he just kept twisted his aggressively, like put all his manly strength. And he was football player size too, big guy, and he kept angrily twisting his knuckles in my chest like this, like with vicious hate anger, like with all his might, like twisting his knuckles, like, and then had a mean, aggressive, like vicious, mean, mad look on his face, like kept doing this. And I was like, "Ow, stop, you hurt me." And then he kept doing it. And so, you know, they said that I vomited, that I threw up, that they gave me activated charcoal and I vomited and I threw up and they had to pump my stomach. But they said that I didn't remember any of that, you know. Wow, that's scary, very scary. They threatened to put me in a prison psych ward, Wichita Falls, and they made it like as if I didn't have a right to go back to my house and go get my bunk, stuff like this. But then they won't allow you to have this um, in a mental hospital. It seems like jail and prison you get more freedom than a mental hospital. I've seen pictures and videos of people going to prison and they be outside playing basketball and stuff. But hell, in the mental hospital, you're not allowed to see outside for 18 days, unless your insurance runs out. So it took me almost 40 minutes to try to get to the point of talking about, what a lot of black people being victims of police brutality. Question: how many of them you think are targeted individuals or were targeted individuals? I mean, um, I'm still not 100% clear on the Kanika Jenkins case. All I know is she was falsely accused of walking to being drugged up and walking to a freezer or something. And I don't know everything about that story or whatever. But let's call out names, okay? I'm about to be a dumbass and go on Wikipedia. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna call out the names of all these people, these black people. You know, uh, let's see. I should have had this prepared. I'm sorry, y'all. So, okay, the Wikipedia page of Death of Sandra Bland. I mean, I just type in Sandra Bland's name in Google, and then the first result comes up: Death of Sandra Bland. So, me reading this Wikipedia article makes me so fucking mad. And they falsely accused her of suicide and blame her like she was at fault for everything, like she was 100% wrong, and a police officer named Brian was 100% innocent and in the right, which is not true. Let me see. So hold up. Yeah, the man's name was Brian Encinia. Some people say he was white, but other people say he was Hispanic. Um, I didn't know that Sandra Bland was part of a sorority. Okay, so oh man, the results here are different from on the hold up, because I can't do it on the computer while I'm doing a video. But I'll just try to name names off the top of my head. Like, okay, y'all remember that black guy, the cute black guy, Sean Bell, that was murdered in 2006 in New York on his wedding day by police? I think he was shot and killed by the police. Um, I not long ago saw like comments on a video where somebody was talking about how Sandra Bland. It's like people were debating on whether or not Sandra Bland was dead or alive. They were trying to say that she was dead on her mugshot in the they said she was dead on her mugshot um in the oh man, I just hold up. It's harder to find. Wait a minute. Um so it's like they were saying that they were debating on whether or not she was dead in her mugshot, saying that her eyes looked lifeless and that she looked like she was laying down and stuff like that. You know, they say so. Um, so let me just name some names. Um, let's see. All right. Tamir Rice, of course. How could you forget Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Oscar Grant, Eric Garner? Now this George Floyd person. Let's see. Michael Brown. This Philando. Let's see. Philando Castile. Um, Come on. Um, Alton Sterling, of course, Sean Bell, Walter Scott, um, Samuel Dubose. Oh man. Um, Stephon Clark, Keith Lamont, Ezell Ford, Jamar. Oh yeah, Stephon, Jamar Clark. Are they related? Terrence Crutcher. Um, let's see. Um, yeah, so quite a bit of people. Um, but y'all get what I'm saying. Black people shot by the police, shot and killed. Um, so hold on. Yeah. Now the most recent is George Floyd, and well, Trayvon Martin wasn't shot and killed by the police, but George, crazy George Zimmerman delusionally believed he was a cop. Let's see. Um, yeah. So um, wow, it's gonna take me all night. I can't do this. So let me get off here, and but y'all get it. All the like a lot of these black people. Um, Even that 7-year-old girl, Ayana Jones, and the fake Scientology and CCHR people had picked up her case. I think it was. Excuse me. So a lot of these black people that are victims of police brutality, whether dead or alive, um, what's the chances or likelihood were they targeted? Were they targeted individuals in gang stuff? You think this George Floyd guy was a targeted individual and gang stuff? What about people like Michael Brown? I think it was the Ferguson, right? And Eric Garner. He's the other I can't breathe guy, because it seems like these black people get brutalized over and killed, lose their lives over petty stuff, like stuff that's not worth you lose something that you didn't even deserve to lose your life over. You know, so um, it's like really disturbing and sad to see. I mean, and while my own family, by me being targeted, I mean, I'm hoping that wouldn't happen to me. All the times that crazy man and called the police on me for no reason. I mean, on New Year's, I could have been a victim of brutality. I could have been shot down because they bullied me and abused me and try to tell me they need to see some ID, but then they tell me I can't put my hands in my pockets or my purse or anything. I'm like, well, and I have it on video where I said, you know, well, and it's like when you outsmart the police officers, that's when they shut the fuck up. Or sometimes they shut up and humble themselves, or sometimes they get stupid crazy and shoot up everything around them because they're mad at something you said when you outsmart them. So it's like I'm glad it wasn't me, but my heart goes out to the people it had to happen to. I'm just hoping that that is really traumatizing to even encounter the police, that you falsely accused of something and targeted individual, and you know they admitted on the Wikipedia that 12-year-old boy Tamir Rice, you know that they saw he was playing around with a toy gun, and they said that the police officer just immediately started shooting, you know rather than shucks. I mean, I saw on the Young Turks had a video years ago. Well, it was a 14-year-old pregnant black girl. She didn't die, but she was brutalized and abused by the police. And she was brutalized and abused by the police. And The police, I mean, the girl's stomach was big like this. And the police officer got a slap on the wrist, and then he lied and said he didn't know that the girl was pregnant. And he just got like he got let off. You know, these people may be these police are these Masonic, sellout, gay, satanic, bully fag cops have hell awaiting them. You know, I was shocked. The video, I mean, I tried as best as I can, but I had a hard time earlier today with it seemed like I had a hard time earlier today with the me trying to get him. I only got a couple of seconds of him clearly on video of the Escambia County Sheriff's parked and gang stalking me, and it's like I couldn't get it that clearly because the sun was so bright. But then shortly after I took that video and I went to Denny's to go eat, you know, and that was like for lunch and dinner with the little bit of my money because I had like a couple of dollars left. But I'm supposed to get my money back, the rest of the money back tomorrow, you know, after I get out of here, the $100 or whatever, you know. So shortly after that, and I uploaded that video, and I was at Denny's. And I ate half of my food, and then took the rest of half home, and then ate dinner. I mean, ate it for dinner. So I'm sitting here, you know, looking, and it's like with the frequency of so many. When I'm in the restaurant in Denny's, no police officer came inside, but I was inside the restaurant in Denny's, and I saw so many Escambia County Sheriff police officers, like just a lot of SUVs passing by with Escambia County Sheriffs. None of them were emergency or nothing like that, but I just saw them like from the window. I mean, I was inside and saw them out the window, and it's like so many of them were passing by with such frequency, and nothing was going on, you know. But I tried to fight my fear that you know that happened right after I saw the Escambia County Sheriff's, you know, um, parked by the was it Pep Boys? Yeah, I think they were parked on the side right by Pep Boys, gang stalking me, you know. And earlier today it was a black guy went to fake Walmart to get, you know, just one little thing, and then walked out, and it was a black guy with a fresh ass, brand new Mercedes. And he had his phone like this, aimed at me, filming me. And then it was a white lady was filming me too. And then a couple other people just filming me. You know, where they had their phones aimed at me and without shame. So I had to realize that narcissistic abusers and gang stalkers is very hard pill to swallow. That they don't give a fuck about my feelings and emotions, or they don't care about hurting my feelings or making me feel bad. They don't care about they don't care about ruining my day. They want me to be hurt and ruined, you know. And so it's like being a targeted individual seems like you gotta constantly watch your back, stay vigilant, but then it's hard to do when you're sleep deprived, you know. So tomorrow's the day I gotta pack up. It's 10:01 right now. I'm about to go to bed. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go to. Well, it ain't too early. It ain't considered early, but you know it's a little early. 10:01. So I'm gonna have to set my clock. Maybe like 7 o'clock in the morning. Take a shower. clean up, pack up, and then, be ready to be gone by 11. And, you know, if I can get my whole $100 back, then, with that money, I can afford to spend one night in another hotel. It can't be this one because you can't use the deposit money here to you know have a that you can't spend any deposit money on here. Whoa, the electricity just flickered out just for a second. So since I'm on my computer, this might be one of the last long annoying talks here, and then I guess after tomorrow or maybe for an indefinite time, y'all get those short 15-minute intervals of videos or whatever. So I'll see y'all. I love y'all, and bye bye.